everyone, and welcome to the RacingBet preview for day 3 of the Flemington Carnival. It's Oaks Day this Thursday, coming off what was a very successful Melbourne Cup day. I'm your host, Tim Geers, joined again by Trent Crebbin. We're going to be taking you through the Group 1 VRC Oaks, along with our best bets on the Flemington card for Thursday, November the 5th. Trent, a really, really fat Melbourne Cup day.
Yeah, it was. We both kind of identified Twilight Payment as a value runner in there. Tiger Moth was a little bit of a sick beat, just running well for second. And Prince of Aaron getting third means we kind of tipped a few followers into the trifecta there, and it was a good day elsewhere on the card as well.
Yeah, I think from the race-by-race preview, we had 10 races previewed, obviously. I think we nailed 5 of the winners, including a couple of really sick beats in there. Joviality is probably the best thing beat you'll ever see. And Yonkers wasn't much better, 3 wide, the trip over 2,800. So really, we're around the ball most of the day. Melbourne Cup, very successful. I think we outlaid about 4.5 units or something on the Melbourne Cup and returned about 13. So that was good. And then overall, I think the staking plan had us outlaying 16.5 units and returning somewhere in the region of 25. So well done if you followed along and found a few of the winners. But we're not going to live and die on that. We're going to move on to Oaks Day on Thursday because another solid 9-race card. Trent's going to be taking you through every race on the Flemington card, and he will have his race-by-race preview up on racingbet.com.au. Quick look at the card, Trent. Pretty difficult overall. I was pretty happy to sit this one out.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a tricky one. I think there's a lot of these kind of finals races. You got like the Greys race and the country final, which are obviously incredibly open. I think it's about $9 the field in the country final. Other than that, I think there's a few well in the market that do look very hard to beat. But other than that, it's not something we'll be really launching into in every race. I think we'll just be picking and choosing the ones we want to attack as value.
Okay, we're going to kick things off with the Group 1 VRC Oaks. It is the feature race of the day. Before we take you through our best bets on the Flemington card, I'll quickly take you through a little look at the speed map, or, at least what I think we might see. Looked to be a race with a distinct lack of speed. I struggled to find a designated leader, but I ended up with horse number 9, Star of Eden, probably finding the rail and the lead from barrier 2. I think we'll see Villankulu roll forward from barrier 7, potentially sit outside the leader. The definite part of the speed map will be Biachi and Taish, drawn barriers 1 and 3. I think they're just going to pocket themselves behind the leaders there in 3rd and 4th placing. I've got number 13, Yatin, sitting midfield on the rail. Number 12, if I can just find its name. Number 12, Hard Squeeze. Yep, just positioned to its outside, probably about 6th in the running line. Then we've got the 2 of the favourites, Montefilia and Miraval. I think Montefilia probably ends up on the fence here. I'll get your thoughts on that in a second, Trent, but I've got a midfield the fence with Miraval drawn immediately to her outside in barrier 6, probably sticking by her side. Next in the field comes Salto Angel, and I'm tipping Personal probably goes back from barrier 10. We saw her ridden a little bit forward the other day, but I think with that wide draw and the step up to 2,500 metres, we'll probably see a little bit of a quieter ride on Personal. And then that leaves us with 4 at the back, which would be those drawn wide: Swindon Lass, Art Glass, Capo Rizu, and Succeed Indeed. They're the back markers I've got positioned. Did you have anything different in that speed map?
Succeed Indeed can roll forward. They kind of tried to a couple of starts ago and got caught wide, so that they might go back. I think ideally Huey or Montefilia would want to be off the rail, perhaps outside the one just drawn inside him there, Yatin. But I could see a scenario definitely where he does end up on the fence. But I think he would try at least early to end up one off the fence. But that looks about right other than that.
Looks a race much like the same every year, one that lacks, any depth whatsoever. But, behind the first 3 or 4 chances in the market, looks to be a pretty steep drop-off. Do you see it that way, or is there anything that you think is over the odds outside of the leading 3 or 4 chances?
No, not really. I've been saying it for weeks in most of my previews that these Melbourne staying fillies aren't much good. You had a Personal coming out of the 1,000 Guineas was the only one that could really challenge, but all these ones coming out of the ethereal stakes and those other kind of lead-up races are no good. And I'm pretty confident that the Sydney form should be really holding up here.
It's interesting point you make about the ethereal stakes. So I went back through and looked at the previous winners of the Oaks and what their lead-up races were and where they finished. And if you take out the outlier of the field, which of course was Lesquetti Spirit, who came here as a maiden from Sydney, you've got Miami Bound won the Moonee Valley Vars. You've got Aristia won the Ethereal. Pinot won the Wakeful. Jamaica won the Wakeful. Set Square won the Ethereal. Kiramosa won the Wakeful. And then you have to go all the way back to Dear Demi, who ran fourth in the Wakeful. So really, the Ethereal and the Wakeful are the two races to look for leading into this. And, you know, for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, probably 6 of the last 7 years, the horse that's won the Oaks is coming off a win. The only one really to focus on coming off a win of any note here is the favourite Montefilia, who comes out of the Spring Champion Stakes in Sydney. I guess that's a good point to start. She is the $1.85 favourite. The question is, will she be winning?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident she will be. I think she's $1.80 or so. I think that's probably a fair price, to be honest. You know, she clearly brings the best form line. She's always looked like a filly that'll run the Oaks distance. Her run in the Flight Stakes, beating Hungry Heart, was outstanding. Her run in the Spring Champion was also very good from the inside, having to ease off heels. It really picked up and was strong through the line. I can't see 2,500, especially if it's a slowly run 2,500, being a real issue. I think barrier 5 is okay for her. I just think that Bowman should be able to, find when he wants to present the horse, and I think she should be really too strong. I think she's got a few lengths on these.
Okay, so as you mentioned, $1.80, $1.85. Are we taking that price? Is it as simple as she just wins and we take that price, or do you think she's a little bit short?
Well, I'm already on at 350, so I probably wouldn't be going again just personally. But I think if you're not on her, I think the $1.85 is a backable price, and I'd probably have I'd have her probably marked about $1.60. So I think you could steam into that if you want to get involved. And I think that, the $1.85 is overs, really.
I'm going a little bit against you here. I think $1.80, $1.85, always in these 3-year-old staying fillies races. Like, I just think they're way too short in the market at that price. I know she brings the best form in the race. She's a dual Group 1 winner coming off back-to-back wins in the Flight Stakes and the Spring Champion Stakes. But if we're really honest, those races haven't been very good form races. We saw Hungry Heart come to Melbourne. She was legless. And really, there's nothing out of that Spring Champion Stakes race that you'd really stamp as a reliable form line. So I'm always concerned with these fillies stepping up to 2,500 metres. And as you know, I'm a big patterns man. So I was actually in the corner of number 2 Personal at $6.50, given that there is $2 available for her to place. So I would rather be backing Personal each way at $6.50 and $2 rather than lumping in Montefilia at somewhere around $1.85. So I'm going to take on the short price favourite here and back Personal each way. She, of course, ran on Saturday in the Wakeful Stakes. We just talked about how that is a pretty reliable form reference for this race. She started the $3 favourite on that occasion, and she was beaten 0.3 lengths by Victoria Key. Decent break back to third. I think, if you look to her form prior to that as well, behind the likes of Odium and Instant Celebrity and the 1,000 Guineas in the Prelude, we saw Odium come out and run well in the Empire Rose on Derby Day. And I just think it's a pretty reliable form line. Short break, quick back up into the Oaks, up to 2,500 metres. As I said, I think they'll probably look to ride her a little bit quieter from barrier 10. But yeah, at the prices, I thought $6.50 about her with even money to place was a better way to bet than the $1.85 of Montefilia. Another horse that you've been following and you backed last start, I know you backed her last start in the Wakeful Stakes, that same race, was Miraval. You just take us through her chances here.
Yeah, I thought she was the clear and almost only danger to Montefilia, in my opinion. I thought her run in the Wakeful was huge. She was always going to be back in the field, but she just got back a long way. They went out quite hard early, and she was just so far out of the ground. You couldn't even see her on the camera. She made up a stack of ground late, was beaten about 3.5 lengths or so. I just think if they do go slower here, she's going to be a little bit closer, especially from barrier 6 rather than barrier 13. She's always looked like the horse that's going to be most suited getting out to 2,500 metres. You saw her in a couple of the fillies races in Sydney, where she made up a good amount of ground behind Montefilia in that Spring Champion as well. So I think barrier 6 here is perfect for her. She can perhaps settle a pair or two closer. And I think she's going to be the one that's really going to be strong at the end of 2,500. I think she's the danger or the saver in the race to Montefilia. I was happy enough to be against Personal. I thought Miraval was the better run in the Wakeful and will be better at the trip.
Yep, fair enough. Can see your point there. And probably with $7.50 available, I'll probably be playing something on her as well. As I said, taking on Montefilia, backing Personal, and with $7.50 available for Miraval, I'll be looking to have something on her as well. Can we find a couple of others at big odds? Now, there's two that I know me and Trent think might be able to run a race. The first of those is number 5, Salto Angel for Danny O'Brien. Ben Mellon takes the ride. Look, I know she was only slightly plain in the Wakeful Stakes, that slam race we've just been talking about with Personal and Miraval. But prior to that, she was good behind Chica Fuerte in the Ethereal Stakes. And I just thought in a race that lacked a lot of depth, she hasn't been that far away. And at around $27 or $31, she could be included. And Trent, I think you are of the opinion that Villain Kulu could surprise a few here at $31.
Yeah, look, she's probably the roughie or the knockout chance for mine. I thought she brings a little bit of the different form lines to those kind of Ethereal Stakes. I thought she was good last start in the Geelong Classic against the boys behind Confrontationals. They'd only beaten just over a length there in third. Confrontationals come out again and run really well since behind Ain't No Deal Done on Cup Day. And that form obviously ties in well with Victoria Key through the Wakeful. Danny O'Brien, I think she's a horse that'll really appreciate getting out to a trip. Jamie Carr keeps the ride there. I think she's probably the one that could definitely run in the top 3 and it wouldn't shock me. But I'm not sure she has the class of a Montefilia or a Miraval.
Okay, we'll move on to our best bets of the day at Flemington. We're looking to bookend the card here. I'll kick off because I think, well, me and Trent both agree on one ladder in the card, but there is one other on the card to open things up that I think is a really good bet, and that's in race number 1, horse number 2, November Dreaming. Trent, I think you tipped this one on top first up from a spell at Geelong. It was a benchmark 64. She came from worse than midfield and just exploded at the 200-metre mark, balanced up and really hit the line strongly, drew away by 2 lengths. I think she's got a bit of class on her side, this mare. She's 2 from 2, second up from a spell. Craig Williams keeps the ride. They elect not to claim off her with the full 61.5 kilos. Stepping up to 1,700 metres, second up from a spell. I just think, something's going to have to be very, very good to beat her. Thought the only danger in the race was number 1, Oceans 13 for the Maren Ooster stable. Melbourne Cup winning jockey Joe McNeil in the saddle. She didn't get a whole lot of luck in the Ladies' Day Bars last start. We've seen Sovereign Award come out of that race and win again. And prior to that, she was a strong winner at Ballarat. So $2.80 for November Dreaming. I'll be having a good crack at that. And I'd be having something smaller on Oceans 13 at $7. But we'll get over to Trent's best of the day, which comes up in race number 9. Pretty talented filly here. You're with number 6, Written Beauty. Team Hawks, William Pike.
Yeah, she just looks to be a real star in the making, does Written Beauty. Her 2 runs this campaign have both been excellent. First up at Canterbury, over 1,100 metres. She led them up. She was really there to be beaten by a horse she meets here again in Chianti, who kind of got the inside gap and looked like she was going to challenge over a second. But Written Beauty was just far too strong. She's a big Written Tycoon filly. I think she's a very mature filly, and she showed that last start at Moonee Valley, where she wasn't able to lead, but she sat back midfield and always travelled like the winner. She peeled it in the straight and she really put them away, winning comfortably by 3.5 lengths there, breaking Nature Strip's track record over the 1,000 metres there at the Valley, which is no mean feat. I just think that, she's going to be too good for them here. The straight track is the only slight query. She hasn't seen the straight track, obviously, before. But I thought if her last start run, it showed that she doesn't need to just lead and kick off a bend that she did first up. So I think draw and barrier 16, that's probably, if they're coming outside, down the outside fence as they did on Derby Day, I think that'll be the place to be. And I think she's going to be fine down the straight and should really be too strong here. And I think even money or over even money here should be a bit of a luxury.
Yeah, $2.15 available. I would think she probably starts odds on come race time, at least in the exchange. I'm with you there, completely agree. She's a special filly, this one. And look, she broke the track record untouched last start. Yes, the track was playing quick, but gee, she had another gear or 2 to go to, provided she handles the straight track, which I think she will, given she's trained by Team Hawks and they generally educate them pretty well. I would think she'll be winning again. Any dangers? Number 4, Minaj, comes out of 2 runs behind September Run, who we then came and saw win the Group 1 Coolmore Stud Stakes on Derby Day. Blinker's gone first time here. Is she a danger?
Yeah, absolutely. She is a danger. I know she brings that really strong form line behind September Run. But there's a few others that kind of tie in very easy, like Maha, number 9, was thereabouts as well. And then the horse from SA, number 10, Celestine, actually beat Maha as well a couple of starts back over 1,000 metres down the straight. So they all tie in quite easily. And you could make a case certainly for a few of these if you don't want to get involved in the favourite Written Beauty. But I just think that they're all quite even, and it'll just come down to luck in transit for some of those fillies. Whereas I think the Written Beauty is just a few lengths ahead of them regardless, and she would have run really well in the Coolmore if they chose to send her there. But I think they take the easier option here. I think it's going to be a winning one.
We also see the horse that ran second to Written Beauty up in Sydney, number 13, Chianti. She meets her again here with a 5 kilo weight swing. Written Beauty had her measured that day by 2 lengths. Could she go close with that weight swing in her advantage?
Yeah, Chianti's always a horse I've had a little bit of time for as well, but I thought Written Beauty was first up that day. Chianti was race fit, and Chianti had every favour. She box seated behind Written Beauty. Written Beauty kind of rolled off the fence as she came around the turn. Chianti got the dream split through the inside. But Written Beauty was really coming away for him again on the line. If they'd gone another 50 metres, she would have won by another 1 or 2 lengths, I think. So I think she's comfortably a better horse, and I don't think the 5 kilos is going to really be enough to turn the tables here.
And she handled the corner at Canterbury like a drunken sailor. I'm with you there. I think race 9, number 6, look, it's my best of the day as well, outside of November Dreaming in the first. I think it'll be a put-in, take-out job. A little bit of value for the punters to round things off, Trent. You've got one highlighted. Race number 3, horse number 3, Ghana, currently $10. Just take us through your thoughts there.
Yeah, it's a tough race. I just thought Ghana had the straight track experience, and I thought he could run really well. I thought he was really good last start in the Caulfield Sprint, perhaps just ridden a touch too warm. Ran really well behind Graf, who was going to be here as scratched and is heading to the VRC Sprint on Saturday. But I just thought he was a touch of value here, Ghana. Ancestry is flying. He'll be hard to beat, but his one run down the straight over 1,200 metres was awful. He kind of came up the outside rail by himself and didn't finish off at all, was beaten 10 lengths and went back round a bend the next start and bolted in again. So maybe he just doesn't handle the straight at all. And I thought at the 350 or so he was at was just a slight knock there to be taking that price. And then you've got number 7, Fiesta, who's on the quick backup, drops down to 1,000 metres, which I don't really like, but the form out of that race has been quite strong with Exhilarates winning on Cup Day. I just thought back down to 1,000 metres off 4-day backup was short enough. So I was happy to have a small bet on Ghana with that straight track experience. And I think 1,000 metres is his right trip.
Beautiful. Well, we've had a terrific start to Cup Week, a solid Derby Day, followed by another good day on Melbourne Cup Day. We're going to be looking to continue that form on Oaks Day. You can find my runner-by-runner preview of the Group 1 VRC Oaks on RacingBet.com.au. You can also find Trent's race-by-race preview of all 9 races at Flemington, also up on RacingBet.com.au. Hopefully we found you a few winners on this preview show, and we'll be back ahead of the final day of the Flemington Carnival, McKinnon Day on Saturday. Good luck.